Summer isn't officially over, but it must feel like that for Todd McLellan, the new head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Everything is new for you, including a new room. What do you think of your new place to start working in the NHL with the Oilers?
Well, I'm really excited about it. It's refreshing. There comes a point where you individually need change, and your former team needs change, and we came to that conclusion in San Jose. Now we're moving on and coming to Edmonton. There's so much excitement around this organization right now, and I'm proud to be a part of it. With that comes a tremendous amount of responsibility, though, and we've got our work cut out for us. We've got our staff together now here early, working on what our training camp plan would be, trying to evaluate some players before even seeing them, and being prepared.
When you get here, you start to maybe feel even more just the vibe in the city and the expectations. I mean, it's been a long time without playoffs. Geez, I waited all till the second question to mention playoffs. But I just wonder what you sort of foresee going through camp, beginning the season, and just kind of working you and your staff into life with the Oilers and trying to get this team back on track.
Well, the situation isn't a regular one that you go to when you're rebuilding an organization or a team. And what I mean by that is it's hard for us to go to our great fans here in Edmonton and across the country and ask them to be patient again, because it's been a while. But with that being said, we also have to establish a foundation as a new group, a new set of coaches, some new players coming in, a foundation that will allow us to be successful not only for as much as we can right now, but also months down the road and years down the road. And we continue to add some prominent pieces to our organization and hopefully to our team. But the foundation is the most important part. So you won't hear us talk a lot about playoffs. I know there'll be a lot of conversations and questions asked of me and of the players, but my answer is always going to be we've got to formulate the foundation and get doing things right before we can take that big step.
When you look at coming in as a head coach here, Peter DeBoer replaced you in San Jose. You'd been there a long time. Here it's been one coach after another. Does that change anything for you now that you are that coach that's come into Edmonton?
No, I'm who I am. I can't change or get out of character at all. I have a style about me. I carry myself a certain way, and the players will learn that quickly, just like I'll learn their body language and their style. But I'm going to continue to be who I am as an individual person. Our staff will have their own personalities, and they'll be that. As far as a style of play, you've got to look at the players that are in the organization, and then you have to look at what's successful around the league right now, and we'll adapt as we go along. But our organization's in a really unique spot. We've got a new general manager and a new coach. I'm not sure the last time that's happened in the National Hockey League. Usually it's one or the other, but we're coming in new together, and it's going to take some time to evaluate individuals, evaluate them collectively, and it'll take time for them to figure us out as well.
You'll have some new players, and of course, the one everyone's talking about is Connor McDavid. I often hear coaches say that you kind of have to treat everybody the same. How do you treat him? How do you handle him? Will it be any different than you might treat previous players that you've dealt with?
Well, he's a special player. He's obviously already been labeled that. He's proven with his talents at the junior level that he's a special player, and expectations for him are extremely high, not only outside our locker room but inside our locker room. But we have to remember that this young man's only 18 years old. He carries himself like he's been in the league for 7 to 10 years now, which is a credit to him and his family upbringing, but he is 18. As far as special treatment, Connor doesn't want that. Connor wants to fit in. He wants to be part of his team. He knows the world that he's in right now, and he's handled it very well, but he'll be treated like anybody else. There will be moments and times where we'll try and manage his presence, if you will, media-wise, and we can't overextend him to the point where where it wears on him physically and mentally.
What's fair to expect from him? And I don't mean just maybe points-wise, but just player-wise. What do you think you'll end up seeing from him over the course of the next 7 or 8 months?
Well, we're expecting growth. I think he wants to come in and establish the fact that he can play in the league, which we believe he can. He wants to prove to his teammates that he's a competitive guy and wants to win night in and night out. And we'll give them everything that he possibly has. And in turn, he'll expect that from them. Sounds like a regular player. He happens to be a very talented one. But that's where we're at. And then we're going to grow his game. He'll have some ups and downs like any player. But when it's all said and done, when we hit the Christmas break, when we hit the new year and move into the All-Star break, we'd like to see growth in his game and our team's game.
It seems like everybody in the city has an opinion on where he should live, who he should live with. I wonder, A, if you have an opinion on it, or B, how that situation will be resolved so you get him in the best possible environment off the ice so he can be effective on the ice.
Well, the first thing is he's not living with Gene. We've declared that already.
I have a room in my basement, and my wife's a great cook, but I guess that's
what we're afraid of. But Peter and I and Bob Nicholson and the rest of the staff have spent some time talking about it, and the important thing is Connor's participation in this decision. He is 18. He's been lucky enough to have a wonderful family upbringing and some very good billets where he's been in his junior career. We can continue that type of environment, or he can get out and spread his wings a little bit and become an independent liver. And we have to sit down and talk to him about what he's comfortable with. And we'll find the right spot for him, and if it's not working well, we'll make adjustments. When
you coached Taylor Hall and Jordan Everly at the World Championships, you coached against them and knew, scouted for them and prepared for them. They're two very important parts of this team and the success going forward. What did you make of having that opportunity, and how it sort of translates now to you coaching them in the NHL?
Well, that was an exciting group of players to work with. When you go up and down the roster, there was some tremendous talented players there that have established themselves as dominant NHL superstars, and Taylor and Jordan were the same. When I began the process, I didn't know I'd be coaching the Edmonton Oilers. As it wrapped up, I had a pretty good idea, but it didn't change the way I approached them, which I think was healthy. They both have tremendous assets that they bring to the rink on a nightly basis. I think both of them are frustrated a little bit because of the lack of success, which is an honest trait right now for them. But they have to be part of the solution moving forward. And just like us as a coaching staff and the young players and the role players on the team, there's areas that they have to improve in. I thought they showed a tremendous amount of responsibility in Prague when we were over there. It wasn't just about scoring, and as it turns out, they scored a lot of goals and contributed a lot offensively, but their level of defensive responsibility was at a very good level.
When you look at this team, and maybe just kind of quickly go over goalie, defense, and forward if it's possible, do you see yourself having maybe a full slated number one, or would you be okay with the split between the newcomer Cam Talbot and Ben Scrivens?
Well, I think we have a competitive net, a competitive crease, if you will. We're talking about Talbot, we talk about Scrivens. Nielsen's very capable of playing. I watched Brossoit, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but I watched him, I'm a little tough with the French, but I watched him play very well against us. He's an up-and-coming guy. So there's goaltender depth in the organization, and what we want to create right off the bat is a competitive environment there, but a supportive one. They've got to take care of each other as teammates, and expect that from them.
On defense, Andre Sekera, maybe the biggest signing in the offseason, other movement on the blue line. Like many teams, it's difficult to have that sort of number one 25 to 30 minute a night defenseman. When you look at the group as a whole, what's the best way to get success from them through 6 or 7 defensemen?
Well, and that number may be 8 or 9 really when we look at it. There's some young players that had a chance to play here last year, and we're hoping they take a stride and challenge. So, if you're a young, strong defenseman that's knocking on the door, it's a really good time to be an Edmonton Oiler. It's an area that we have to improve in individually and collectively, and I'm not just zeroing in on defensemen per se, I'm zeroing in on the team as a whole. We have to be a better defensive team, so we've got to get the best we can out of those players. We feel like we've added a little grit and Greiba, some size and puck moving, and Reinhardt. Nurse is knocking on the door. Sekera can play a tremendous amount of minutes in all situations. So when you look at those players' additions and some others accepting more responsibility and executing at a higher level, we hope to improve there.
Up front, never a shortage of talent, especially with the addition of Connor McDavid. Do you feel like you have the right mix of scorers, checkers, grit that you need to have top 12, 13, 14 forwards?
I think it's too early to answer that question, to tell you the truth. We're going to have to get to training camp. There is a great asset pool when you look at the talent and the skill that's there. You've got guys that can score, you've got some size. The grit and determination comes from a little lower down in the lineup. But if we can spread that out amongst everybody, we'll have a better chance at success. But I think it's way too early without even having an opportunity to view these players at training camp to make that assessment.
What excites you most about the job that you have and the season coming up with the Edmonton Oilers as the head coach?
Well, for me, I'm excited about the opportunity that lies ahead of us as a staff. It's not just about me. We've got a tremendous staff, and we're looking for the opportunity to make a difference. We know that we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I'm excited about being back in Canada. I can't tell you the difference already noted in walking around the streets of Edmonton. A little bit different than California. Not that California was a poor place to be, but the environment here is much different than we've experienced on a daily basis down there.
Todd, thanks for your time, and good luck with training camp around the corner.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.